Hi, Paul here from Trekitt with Harry as usual, and we're in the Hereford shop today to talk to you about the rather lovely, and in this case a rather orange, Salewa Mountain Trainer Lite Mid GTX. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? So we'll probably just call it the Mountain Trainer Lite. What is it? It's a lightweight, mid-height, technical hiking, scrambling, mountain walking boot for kind of 3-season use in all mountain conditions. It uses some very clever technology, some modern fabrics and materials to bring you a hugely supportive and technical boot for extended hiking, for a bit of backpacking, for some scrambling, pretty much all mountain use. It is, for those of you who are familiar with the Salewa range, it is kind of the lighter weight version of the now classic mountain trainer that's been in Salewa's range for a long time. I don't know why they call it a mountain trainer, because it's not a trainer, it's a boot. Technically, it's a boot. And even though this is called a mid-height version, it is offering some really good substantial support up around the ankle. So that's the Salewa Mountain Trainer Lite Mid GTX, a 3-season alpine walking, mountain walking, technical approach, scrambling, hiking, backpacking boot, kind of one boot for all jobs, 3-season mountain use. Okay, so before I start prattling on about all the techie stuff, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and if you hit the little bell icon, you'll get notifications as soon as we post any new videos. Okay, what are these Mountain Trainer Lite Mid GTXs made from? I'm going to stop calling them that because that's just too much to say. What are these Salewas made from? Well, you'll notice straight away on the uppers, it's predominantly using this lightweight synthetic material. It's super tough nylon, and it's designed to absorb very little moisture. So even if the boots get wet on the outside, they don't soak up a lot of moisture. They don't increase in weight, and it helps to keep the breathability high as well, because you haven't got all that water soaked into the upper. You'll also notice as well on close inspection that there is a minimal amount of stitching. There's a lot of bonding going on here, so they keep the boots lightweight and also less areas that could be prone to failure. Stitching is generally the weakest part of the boot, and if that gets rubbed by rocks, gets knocked, gets cut, etc., you're going to get failure points. So it's a lightweight, tough, synthetic, super breathable, low water absorbency fabric overlaying the whole of the upper. And then on top of that, you've got a TPU film in wear areas up around the ankle and around the side of the boot. You've got a natural leather toe bumper, which is overlaid with rubber to give extra durability and protection in that area of the boot. So designed to be lightweight and super tough. Inside the Mountain Trainer Lite Mid GTX, you get the ever reliable gore-tex extended comfort membrane bootie. So that's a full bootie lining inside this boot to keep your feet dry. That's 100% waterproof and breathable. The gore-tex membrane extends up to about here on the collar. We'll do some close-ups of this so you can see that. So it's not right up to the top. But that does give you that protection throughout the boot. And like I said earlier about this synthetic upper, because the synthetic upper holds much less moisture, that does allow the gore-tex membrane inside the boot to breathe so much better. So you've got the extended comfort membrane with enhanced breathability thanks to that synthetic upper. Okay, so let's talk about the midsole. So the midsole is the bit that you can't really see. It's the bit between the outer sole and where your foot sits on the inside of the boot, and generally that will determine the stability and the flex of the boot. So in this case, you've got a TPU shank running through here, which determines the actual flex or the strength of the boot, if you like. And this one has a reasonable amount of flex, but very good and supportive as well. So like I said, it's designed for scrambling, extended trekking, mountain use. So you need that strength and support under your foot so your feet don't become tired and stressed throughout the day. And also running through there is an EVA midsole to provide cushioning and support on uneven ground. So nicely controlled, lots of support for your feet. and then you've got that added cushioning as well for increased comfort and to reduce fatigue. And then on the bottom, you've got this Pomoka sole unit. It's the first time I've come across this brand of sole units, but it's got a very good aggressive tread. And Salewa have designed it, along with Pomoka, to have this S path. You can see on the bottom that the treads kind of form an S through the boot, and that's designed to mimic the natural walking gait, so from the contact point on the outside of the heel rolling through to the big toe to the propulsion point is kind of an S shape, and that's designed to roll with your foot, again to reduce fatigue, to reduce stress through the foot, just to make longer treks more comfortable and less tiring, basically. The sole unit has good aggressive lugs on it, so it's suitable for kind of all kinds of conditions: loose, gravelly, rock, mud, grass, scree, that kind of things. So good aggressive lugs. And the compound is very sticky. You can feel it as soon as you grab hold of the boot. It actually feels sticky, with some slightly harder wearing lugs around the outside, softer through the middle. So you can actually feel that is going to be sticky. And Salewa claim that this is good in all conditions, on ice, on wet, and also in dry. And you also get a nice positive heel brake. I always like to see that on a pair of boots. So when you're descending, you've got a good brake coming downhill, just to give you that added bit of traction, stop you slipping. Okay, let's move on to features. Well, as with most footwear, the major features are to do with the construction of the materials used, but Salewa are quite an innovative company, and they like to introduce technologies into their models, and this is no exception. So there's some clever stuff going on here which all helps with support and comfort through your hike. You'll notice first off that the lacing bar goes right down to the toe. So that's kind of borrowed from their climbing technology, and that allows you to tailor the fit precisely over your whole foot. So you can tighten up right down to the toe box here, get that fit absolutely perfect, varying the lacing tension right the way up to the top of the ankle. And then another feature which is really obvious on the boot is this 3F system. So you'll notice there's this large kind of TPU sheet on the outside with these little wires running through. That is on both sides. And basically this lace hook here, which is the most important one when you're doing your boots up, because that pulls the ankle into the back of the boot and drops the heel down into the heel cup nicely. When you pull up on this lace hook here, when you pull the laces, it actually pulls your foot using these wires into the back of the boot, locking you in properly, keeping you nice and secure. Now you might then think, oh well, if I'm all locked in and this is a kind of a strong, rigid boot designed for kind of scrambling and mountaineering, it's going to feel heavy and clumpy on my feet. Well, that's not the case. A, it's not heavy, it's very light, clues in the name. And also, Salewa have used their Comfort Flex system around the ankle. So despite the midsole being very supportive, despite the fact you've got this 3F system holding you into the back, there's still good natural flex around the heel when you've got the boot on that allows the ankle joint to flex naturally forward and backwards to keep that walking gait sort of smooth and comfortable. So really supportive, well structured, but extremely comfortable with plenty of flex, particularly around the ankle. Another great feature built into the boot, one that's not hard to miss really, is this bright orange section around the back of the heel, and this is kind of built into the midsole, if you like. It's a section of the midsole, but it's a TPU heel stabilizer. So it's an extra tough little cup that sits at the bottom of the heel here, and it just helps to reduce either pronation or supination, that twisting action on the heel when you strike. So it just helps to keep you in that really kind of properly supported position within the boot. So that's that bright orange bit down the bottom there. Okay, so let's talk about how the Mountain Trainer Lite Mid GTX fits. I'm always a little bit wary about giving advice on how boots fit on videos, because everybody's feet are different and everybody has different impressions on how they like the boots to feel, etc. So what I can do is I can give you an idea of how they fit me. Whether that'll help or not, I don't know, but let's see how it goes. So I am about a regular size 9. I generally would get a size 9, UK 9 or a 43. in pretty much most footwear. I've got a low to mid volume foot with a regular to wide-ish fit on the width. I've got a very high arch and a little skinny ankle. So I've got quite difficult feet to fit boots, to be honest, and I have always struggled to get boots to fit me properly in the past, and once I found a pair that I like, I generally stick with them. So how do these Salewas fit me? Well, I've literally just put them on. There you go, for the sake of authenticity. And I was just saying to Harry how nice they fit. They feel really secure around the ankle. There's plenty of room in the toes. Unless you're extra wide, I think these are going to fit you really nicely. One thing I have noticed is they're kind of medium to high volume in the forefoot. So if you've got a low, like me, you've got a low volume foot, you may find you want to put a volume reducer in or wear a thicker sock just to take up that little bit extra room around the front of the foot. But my first impressions are that it's got a beautifully snug and supportive feeling heel and ankle. Like I said, I've got little skinny heels and this is holding them beautifully, and there's lots of wiggle room around the front. Just out of interest, I do normally wear a size 9, and the pair that I've slipped on are an 8.5, and they're bang on size-wise, so you may want to take that into consideration. But the fit, yeah, it's a generally good fit, mid to high volume, really nicely controlled slim heel and ankle. Okay, so that's it. That's the Salewa Mountain Trainer Lite Mid GTX, the boot with perhaps the longest name, but it's a lovely lightweight 3-season general mountaineering, hiking, backpacking boot that will serve you really well for many years. It's got a superbly light construction that enhances the breathability and the comfort, and some clever technologies in there to make sure that you stay supported and comfortable throughout your activity. Just so you know, it's also available in a women's model. We stock this one here, so it's basically the same boot, but the internal last shape has been specifically designed to suit the female foot, which is generally smaller, lower volume, slightly narrower than a male foot. We also do a shoe. We do that in a gore and in a non-gore version. So you've got a waterproof and a much more breathable non-waterproof version for hotter conditions. Harry will put a link up on the screen, he assures me, so you can follow that through and go and have a look at the whole range and make your choice according to your preference and to the conditions you're using the footwear. Okay, so that is the Salewa Mountain Trainer Lite Mid GTX. I'm amazed I've remembered that name throughout this whole video. Thanks very much for watching. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, please pop them in the section below. It's always good to hear from you. And until next time, hopefully we'll be back out in the mountains and some lovely scenery rather than in the shop. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Toodaloo.